How often do you seek support? Would you agree with me when I say support is necessary to move forward? But what if you don't have the support? What can you do in order to gain support? Well, today is about that support and the magic that can happen. And to go back a few days, in time, I had this amazing conversation, actually it was yesterday and the day before, with two other CHPC coaches. Well, in case you're wondering what CHPC, Certified High Performance Coach, it's something that Brendon Burchard came up with. He has, based on research, he has made this 12 modules related to success and how to gain success. So he talks about clarity, energy, productivity, influence. There are a lot of modules that he talks about. And there are follow-up modules too. I just experienced the second set being coached by a coach from Brendon Burchard. And I cannot tell you how much has changed in the last year. When we talked yesterday, we talked about shame, self-acceptance, addiction, but we also talked about something else, which was about working together. Now, in this case, we are all into CHPC and we are doing a advanced CHPC mastermind. So that means that every other week we get training. And at some point they said to us, make sure that you, oh, this is kind of funny what's happening. So apparently the microphone is on and it's recording something which is not for me, but for someone else. But looking at it, I'm going to take advantage of this. So give me a sec here, because that means that let me see. Yeah, this is live, so I can't cut it. Well, I can cut it, but I'm not going to. But this is so cool. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking it all down because it's not meant for that person that actually was recording the whole lot. But I am thinking that there must be something which can actually do the same on here, but then not hopefully in a social media app. And I'm like, okay, where is it? Which one is it? Which can actually translate what I'm saying straight away into text? And I'm like, is it the notes? Could that be true? But I don't think it is. So what is it? Well, I'm getting all excited. And is it relevant for this? I don't know. But I was like, oh, this is so cool that it's actually recording everything that I'm saying. So that's a good thing, I suppose. Anyway, getting back to working together. So we were with 3 CHPC coaches. Well, the last C stands for coach. And 2 of us were also in another group from Brendon, Ultra. And Ultra has been set up so we can find other people to work with. And I said this to my coach a number of times, like, it's so hard to get people to actually cooperate together. And well, the other one, who for the moment still is in Ultra, but decided not to continue on, said to me, we would set it up, it would happen like 3 times and it would stop. And that's something that I experienced too, that people either didn't have time or didn't have time. And then they didn't have time. So I don't know if I even got to 3 at all. But the moment that I realized that one of those ladies was actually also an ultra, I was like, hey, we've got something there. But then when we were with the 3 of us, and we had been practicing together, so one is the client, one is the coach, one is the observer, and then you switch. And we were talking about our whys and about getting the emotion, touching upon the emotion. And that was so profound. And there was an instant connection created between all of us. Even at some point when I was the observer, it was palpable what was going on between the coach and the client. And I was like, oh my God, that's so interesting. So what we did was we shut off the camera and instead we just listened. And for me, it was kind of new the way they did it because I had to listen for the emotion. Now, I'm used to listening and doing things on the phone, and I do pick up on certain things, but doing it with this intent, oh my God, that was a whole different ball game. And well, apparently we had something in common, and it had to do with support, speaking up, shame, self-acceptance, and either being at one point in time someone who was addicted or knowing people who were addicted. And well, I'm not sure if none of us are exposed to some form of addiction. Let me give you 2 examples. We've got sugar addiction. Well, when you eat, that's instant satisfaction. The thing, though, is that there are companies who take advantage of people wanting to eat. So they want people to keep on eating. So apparently there are little substances, for instance, in cookies, which make you keep on eating. So you never really get full, which is not good. So that's basically starts driving someone towards obesity and also towards addiction. Now, again, there is the reward center gets stimulated instantly when you eat. That's why it's so gratifying. And if we want to achieve that same feeling, we have to do something else. The question, of course, is, do we need that instant gratification or don't we? So what does it compensate for? And what I've seen in the years when it came to people who were addicted was that they wanted to numb the pain. And actually, it's not so much always about being addicted. It's about doing something which is harmful for the health. I mean, when we talk about cutting, for instance, I wouldn't say people are addicted to cutting, but I will say they know it is the only solution to dampen the pain. And if they don't have support, that is what they go back to. So it is their means of coping with things. Getting back to the forms of addiction, I talked about food, sugar, which we get exposed to at a very young age. We can also talk about gaming. I mean, who nowadays hasn't gamed or made a puzzle? Now, back in the days when we were puzzling, normally at some point you would stop. I mean, it was either time for dinner or you had to go to work, something happened and you stopped. With the PlayStations and the computers and the Nintendos and everything, that all changed. We saw it and we had to win. So something was triggered because we had to win. We had to do it. And we wanted to improve. And when we would lose, it was like, no, I want to get better at it. So you kept on going. So when we talk about addiction, I would most certainly say that gaming is also part of it. And what was said yesterday is when you need to set rules, then you know that you are dealing with addiction. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I know the gaming, I know hyperfocus, and I know that I need to set rules. And, I can switch from one to the other, but all the time the same thing happens, whether it's with Lego or it is with puzzle booklets. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's life. So mosaic puzzling, for instance, or where you have to count all the squares in order to figure out, okay, now something needs to be colored and this has to be left blank. And then you get like a drawing. So that's called Japanese mosaic puzzling. Of course, there's Sudoku. There's so many things, and it all has to do with we want to win. And the question is, can we put it away? Someone said to me that I have an addiction when it comes to Pokemon. I'm not sure if it's just one or actually two people have said it already, because I want to take advantage of the opportunity. And usually when I go out with people, I have my Pokemon Go Plus with me. And, I turn it on. And that way it catches all this stuff for me. So this is one of them. So I actually have two. And, well, it's nice that they can do the job for me and I don't have to do a thing. The only thing is I need to sort out stuff later on. So it always comes with surprise, but at least the first catching is something that I don't have to do. So this is the original one, the first one that I got. So each one is related to a telephone. Now, at some point, and now we're getting back to sport again. Well, when I did it on my own, of course, levels go up quickly. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I want to see what's beyond that. And then I learned, well, if you have hit level 30, then you're good to go. So I was like, oh. And then there was this guy, Michael, and Michael said, I'm going to form a group. I'm going to start up a new group, and you are going to be the first one invited to the group. Now, of course, what happened was, on one hand, the support. I learned so many new things. I'll be forever grateful for being invited to that group. What also happened was basically spending money, because Pokemon is not free. If you believe Pokemon is free, think again. It's not. And, well, it was about getting certain Pokemons and you had to battle together. And doing so with people all over the world, Australia, America, Japan, that was Singapore, that was so amazing. That gives a rush when you do it together, that you really have to fight for it to get it done. And then the opposite happened too. I got kicked out. And fortunately for me, other people told me there's another group, and that's way more easygoing. And I can tell that my level of participation, as in having to be there for every raid, has immensely dropped. It's more now that I do it like certain days when there are really new things, but when I see people who say, hey, I want other people to raid, or I have to go in with randoms, that's when I need, they need support. And that's a whole different ball game, going from, oh, we are doing it and I feel obligated to do it because I was the first one invited and I'm playing with the big boys. versus, hey, there are some people who want to do it for the fun of it. Of course, there are also like, hey, we want better ones, but at the same time doing it to support one another. And this is a group that's out there to, whenever someone needs someone, they are there. So what both of them had in common was they explained a lot about Pokemon. Yeah, there's a whole science behind it, believe it or not. And well, one of the things that I actually said was it felt good that there were other people and that I wasn't alone. And I guess when we talk about gaming, gaming is not just about hitting the next level, but it's that community, it's that support that's there, which actually makes us feel good. And when that's gone, oh, there you go. Now, when it comes to addiction, I do not want to talk too much about addiction because I did an entire life about it. But I do want to talk about support. But getting back to addiction for a sec, support is one of the most important elements. It's being alone, which drives people into depression and feeling like, hey, I want someone to talk to. I want to be understood. I want to be seen. I want to do stuff together. But, who's there for me? And then we get back basically to what I started out with when I saw the two other ladies, and specifically one who was in two groups with me, who said, well, when I joined, it was, we are going to work together. We are going to help one another achieve the next level. And like I said, she had the same frustration as I did. She felt like, hello, if you want to be here as a guest, let me know. I'll send you the StreamYard link on WhatsApp. So, but she felt the same. She felt like, well, everyone says they're going to support one another, but there always seems to be strings attached. And she literally said what I had experienced. Now, we did go live yesterday, and I absolutely hope this is not the last time. So I created a group. I sent the recordings, so it was recorded on my platform on StreamYard. So, there's so much I can do. And well, I'm going to ask, hey, when are we going to do this again? So the one thing that we are going to do for certain is practice with one another. So, 10-minute, 20-minute exercise sessions, practice sessions. But if we can go and we can go beyond that, we can talk about, hey, where are you stuck when it comes to marketing, for instance, or how do you reach certain people? That will be worth all the intuition that I've paid in the entire last year. And I guess that's what the other people talked about too, which does make me wonder, how much do we have to pay in order to get support? Now, the good news is we don't always have to pay. When it comes to gaming, sure. When it comes to finding the right support groups, yeah, probably. Because you want to have a membership, then meet the people. And, well, Tiki Joe and I, we met up through Instagram, which was basically for free. So that's an example of it doesn't always have to cost money. We just reached out to one another, and we were on the phone, and we sent each other text messages. So it was simply using the internet. And of course, at some point we met up, but still we didn't have to pay for any membership. So that was good. Now, talking about support, one of the other things that I experienced this week, and it was kind of funny, was I went to a friend. So We know one another through a massage course. We both took the course. We both got certified as masseuses. I worked as both a therapist and a masseuse and a coach for a while until I couldn't do so anymore. She didn't, but we remained friends. And whenever I would go to a fair or something else, she would join me, especially when she still didn't have any children. And at some point, when I got the problems with my ankle, she was the one who would think along with me what could be going on. And she has a medical background. So it was kind of easy to discuss certain things and figure out, hey, this is not normal. This is what I do. How can we get that across to the doctors out there? And we talked a lot, and we are, well, I think it's 15 years that we have been friends. And we have literally been supporting one another through things. The moment that I realized I couldn't have children, or at least I was done with waiting for it every month, and the chance was diminishing. I was in my 40s when I decided, okay, now I need to finish it totally, because if I were to get pregnant, I would be too old. But the chances that it would happen were slim to none, especially at that age. And I was like, okay, I don't want to feel that anticipation and frustration and disappointment anymore. So, but at the same time, she actually did get pregnant, and we talked about it. And actually, her getting pregnant helped me to push through it. So let me see what Cheeky Joe is saying here. She says, Instagram is good. I'm happy I made the page. Yeah, I am too. And I'm so happy that Call Me Anything supported you in getting out there. And yeah, it's really good that I've had a friend for 15 years in my life and we've seen each other weekly. The only time that we didn't see one another weekly was during COVID. Of course, she was in her own bubble. I was in my own bubble. And getting back to what was so funny, she has 2 children. One had his birthday party, the youngest one, and he got a skateboard. And I was like, skateboard, skate park? That sounds familiar. And I said, where are you going? And I said, well, I know 2 people at that location who always talk about skate park. I haven't been there, and I haven't seen them for so long. Sorry, I'm also partially reading what it says. But I hadn't seen them for a long. And when it comes to support, these 2 guys, Izzy and Justin, they helped me out during one of the hardest times. So at some point, my dad wasn't around anymore. He had passed away. And my mom was still alive. And my mom was like, what are we going to do with the toy store? And I was like, you know what? We're going to reopen the toy store. That way I get to see you every week, at least once a week. And maybe we can sell the stuff that's in there. And, that's nice for the other people. And my dad didn't have to sell stuff because for the sake of selling. I mean, he was his own boss, so he had a lot of the better quality toys. I mean, back in the days, toys were actually quite good. Nowadays, they are made for like one season or 1 year, and that's about it. So at some point, I remember that they dropped by and they wanted some stuff from the store. So we sold them some things, and then they told me and my mom about supporting wildlife actually to so they wouldn't be sold illegally and butchered. So they helped rescue wildlife, and well, they came for some furniture, which was very thorough in the store, and also for other stuff. And at some point, they were there, and there was this immense leakage going on, and I was looking and was busy. They came in, and I was, guys, please do me a favor and check over there. And yes, the gutter had been jammed packed with leaves and needles from certain trees. They went up in the pouring rain. They went up the ladder, they cleaned it up, and the leakage stopped. And they helped me to get it fixed. And I was so grateful to them. So they also helped me eventually sell all the stuff. And well, they are in my heart, I can tell you. So when my friend was talking about skate park, I was like, skate park, same skate park. And then I showed them one of the last pictures that I had when one was actually driving the old version of the Beetle. And it was so funny. So I had a picture with both of them. I was supposed to post it on Instagram, but it only happened like last Sunday. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, take good care of my friend and her kids. So I posted on Instagram, what do we have in common? Well, me. So that was kind of nice. And that level of support, that was priceless. They really helped me out. We helped one another. But, that's when you talk to people like that, you actually go to Indonesia to help out the wildlife. That's amazing. Okay, so let me see what Chikijo is saying. Yeah, her kids love me too. They absolutely do. And one of them's got her own phone now. So, and talking about that, since her mom and I, we talk a lot about certain things. The Pokemon actually is something that the kids do with me, not the mom, the kids. And well, they used to be in a different team because back in the days, he knew what the team was about. And then I was like, that needs to change. So for her, we needed to start up her account again. So then she switched to Team Yellow, but her brother was still with Team Blue. Yeah, exactly, Pokemon. Yes, that one. And well, recently I donated some money so he could be in Team Yellow too, so we can support one another. And actually, they are now asking for me to join on Saturday, so I eat a little bit over there, and then we go outside and we hunt Pokemons together. And that's actually quite nice. So I created a route last week. I'm not sure if it's already been approved, but it's so nice to actually be there standing in front of the door, and then the little ones to see Auntie Lexi, and then they come down. That's so cool. And I've seen them being born, I've seen them move, and I know what's going on. And like I said, their mother and we support one another when talking about work and other stuff. And talking about supporting one another, I remember when I was close to 90 days posting on Instagram every day. And when you look at habits, 90 days is the magic number. So they talk about 30 days as in a month, 30 days, but the number is 90. But of course, 100 sounds nicer. So she pointed it out to me, and I realized it. So I do remember pointing it out. But let me tell you something. Today is day 197. So Monday is going to be day 200. Now, I'll honestly say I might have missed a day. Not sure, but if I did, I have made it up by posting several blog posts straight after. So I went from posting one post a day to usually actually posting at least two a day. So I'm good to go with, what that means. But also here, hadn't been lack of had it been had I not had the support, I'm not sure if I would have continued on with it. But I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out there. And it was something I had to prove to myself. And yeah, well, so for the one of the little ones of that friend, we actually said, we're going to help you with Duolingo. So that's when you want to learn languages, but you have to do it at least 30 days. Now, straight after the 30 days, when we actually changed the subscription, so I changed my subscription to a family subscription, she stopped doing it. And I was like, oh no, 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 no. I'm going to send you a picture showing you that I know that you haven't done anything today. We're going to change it. So, and now we are supporting one another again. And I mean, how cool is it? She's a 9-year-old learning languages and I can get to support her. Okay, getting back to Cheeky Joe. It must have been amazing having your dad own a toy shop. Um, yeah, yeah, I remember those moments that we would sit in the big red chair in the back of the store. And if we were very careful, we were allowed to read the comic books and magazines. And of course, he would buy certain toys for a reduced amount of money. I mean, they have to make profit on it. So we could get it for the actual price that he would buy it for instead of the price which was there in the stores. And yeah, I did absolutely take advantage of that. That's something that's for certain. But you know, it was when he wasn't around anymore, and I was walking around first in his domain, which later sort of became my domain, that I felt like I got to know him better. You know, I saw his handwriting, how he had organized certain things. So I got to understand what he was working on, why he put certain stuff in certain drawers. And so it was like I became part of his internal world. And that was amazing, to say the least. Yeah. So um wow, that's amazing. You really kept that up. Well done. I don't think I'm going to quit ever. It's like I said, at some point, I'm going to do the Friday Night Live. You know all about it, Cheeky Joe. Um, I believe that we are supposed to do it together. Well, hopefully that will happen at some point. Due to circumstances, it doesn't. But whenever we do go live together, we create magic. It's always fun to have Cheeky Joe around. So, and being together in certain cities, that's always fun also. So there we can talk non-stop. But when it comes to asking support, I'll honestly say it, when she's not in the right frame of mind, what does she do? She closes down and then I have to do knock, 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 in order to get a response. So, and that's when support still is important, that you let people know in a different way, hey, I'm still here. And one of the things is I actually do meditations. I create meditations, I record them. So I come up with my own meditations for other people. And I single them out of the entire training. And lately I've been pimping them more and more and more and more. And I came up with a certain tune recently. I saved that one, so it's already like 4.5 minutes. So normally the pieces of music I can use are up to 30 seconds, and then you have to make them fit. And I've got several ones depending on what kind of, well, what the vibe is. So there are ones for the funny things. So whenever I do, for instance, basketball, then I hit, I miss, I hit, I miss, I miss, I miss, I miss, I miss, I hit, I miss. Then the ball goes everywhere from there to there, back. That I'm like, what? So then the Charlie Chaplin music is actually a very good one, with the piano and really high speed. And then there are also other tunes which are more laid back, for instance, for meditation. And then, of course, working with the filters and something called binaural beats. And binaural beats is something that I learned from, yes, working together with other therapists. And when I learned how it worked, at first I made my own binaural beats, and then I was like, oh, it's actually easier if I take them from other people, and I'll just list them, whatever they offer for free or which is paid. But it's easier, and then put them underneath. And I know that actually works quite well. So when I've got one of those meditations, I'll let her know. I'll send her the link so it's not visible for other people, and then she can listen to it. And I know that works. So she says, oh, I intend to come back. It's just been really hard mentally at the moment. Yeah, we know. I know I shut myself away. Yeah, she does. And like I said, it's knocking on the door. And she said, that helped me the other night, your meditation video. I so needed it at the moment. Yeah, that's cool. That's good. So support. I never thought about this before. And a lot of people say social media and online, it has made the world a better place socially. But I dare to say that actually I've made so many connections through the internet. I mean, I wouldn't have met Cheeky Joe if she hadn't set up the page, but she did set up the page. I read what she had posted on there. I realized something was going on, and I reached out to her. My musical friends, my musician friends here live in the US. I got to meet them because of their music or music from other people that they supported. And then at some point it was, hey, can you help us out? We need to get a ride. And, internet has actually brought me a lot of people and a lot of very important friendships. I cannot say anything else but how important it has been for me and still is. So yes, we can say, oh, ITH, oh my God, people are just only doing stuff on their phone. Or we can embrace the possibilities that actually have come with the internet. So take, for instance, Brendan Burchard. It was through the internet that I actually got his books and got his CDs and got to watch his live training. I mean, and now I can travel and actually see him and meet up with him. I know that he knows who I am. And when we got our picture taken together in September, I asked him, or October last year, I asked him, I said, and I said, you probably know him. Yeah, I know. So, and I mean, I know his mom nowadays, and, I tend to send her some pictures every now and then of her and Brendan together, and she's a sweetheart. But yes, that's it wouldn't have been possible without the internet. And when it comes to learning certain stuff, I don't want to be I don't want to be how do I say this, excluded from everything which is outside of the country. I want to learn it all. I want to learn from the best. And if the best in the world is somewhere else, then I'll go to the best in the world somewhere else. So, so much for the internet. So, getting back, when we talk about support, support can take place in so many levels. And I do believe that it's the lack of support actually that can lead to what I talked about earlier, which is addiction. Because we talk about wanting to numb the pain, wanting to not feel for a moment. And it isn't until someone reaches out to you and helps you out that you actually realize, oh, life can be different. And of course, when someone reaches out to you, it doesn't mean that you accept it. As a matter of fact, I do believe that a lot of people do the opposite at first. I need to be able to do it myself. But one of the things that I've learned in the last few decades is the value of support and how important that is. So, and that's why I love that Chiki Joe's here. So I sent her a message before I started. I was like, well, maybe she's awake. And if she's awake, then she will join. And at some point I thought, oh, I think she's there. And indeed, there she is. So that's cool. And there will be a moment, and then you will be able to see her again. But for the moment, just having her comment and pitch in already makes such a difference. And that's what we call support too. And that's what keeps me going. So we talked about almost 200 days on Instagram. Then when we talked about the Friday Night Live with Lady Lexi, I'm not sure if Cheeky Joe didn't come up with the name or that you actually said, this is a good one. It sounds good. But from there on, I started doing that weekly. And then I started December 1st, I think, with the Friday Night Live. And actually, I had been doing a weekly live just for the sake of going live. And I did so until the two of us actually met up in Chicago, and then different time zone. And it all stopped at some point. And well, a year later, in a couple of months, I started doing it again. But this time it's different. It's with a purpose. It has to do with looking back on the week. And I want a theme. And I want to talk about that theme. So I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? And I was like, okay, this week is going to be about support. And what happens when you don't have support, and what happens when you do have support. So, yeah, she said it's a good one. See, that's the name. So, well, from there on, I decided to do what was initially called Monday morning messages, but I'm not that good with getting up in time and getting things done in time. So the morning got replaced by Monday motivational messages. That works a lot better. And it has a different approach. So whereas Friday Night Live is about last week, and whenever Cheeky Joe wants to come in, we can do a live about certain other things. We actually are going to do a live. I just don't know when, which has to do with grief and what it can lead to. And yes, there is some addiction at play as well, but it didn't start with the addiction. It started with the loss. So, and then came numbing the pain. So motivational, getting motivational messages out there is like I said, a whole different ball game. So I really have to think about, okay, what is it I want to write down? So I have started to combine that with blog posts. And since the day after I have group coaching training, I tend to sort of make that fit as well. Now, there's something else. It's called circular virality. And in case you are like, say what? Circular virality. Well, it's a term Brandon Burchard came up with. So it's taking snippets of longer recorded footage and using that on Instagram. Instagram is short form content. People don't have the attention span to actually watch it. So you can like post up till 15 minutes on there, but actually people don't watch it when it's up till 15 minutes. Let's face it, that's the way it is. People who are on Facebook, different age group, they actually do watch it. And of course, this also goes live on YouTube. So those who are on YouTube watching it right now, they know that they are going for long form content. So long form content is everything over 10 minutes. Now, thank heavens that we've got AI nowadays. I'm so happy with AI. Why am I happy with AI? Not because I am so fond of change, but it actually helps me. So for instance, StreamYard is recording this right now. And at the end, I can download little snippets. So it figures out by itself what is usable as snippets. Now, not everything that thing considers snippets is something I would use. And sometimes I have like, but I want that and it isn't there. So then I have to come up with it myself. But it has made life absolutely easier. Same with the captions. I remember long ago that people said you need captions on there. And thanks to AI, we are getting better and better and better captions. But I'll honestly say, especially doing a live for an hour, that means I need to chop it up in order to actually check it. And at some point, at the beginning, I'm still alert. And then the second part, I'm sort of getting tired. And then the third part is, well, either I'm going to post it or I'm not. So I'm just going to get it out there. So I need a team. When we talk about support, I need a team. And so, a team is, I know it's one of the most important things, but it's also one of the most difficult things because people have to experience that same passion that you do and feel the same motivation that you do and actually be there where you are when it comes to what you want to achieve. So and now I go back to the lady who does both CHPC and Ultra. I know what she wants to do and I know what she wants to accomplish. And having gone live with the three of us, I think that we finally have found one another and we can keep one another accountable. So that's good. But even when there are no people around to support you, then we still need to keep ourselves accountable if we want to achieve certain things. I want to leave a legacy. I want people to know that it's okay to speak up, speak out, share their story. I want to teach them how to do it so they feel more confident, that they realize it's okay, and it's not okay to not be respected, and that they deserve to be heard, seen, understood, valued, and respected, and taken seriously. And on the flip side, we also, or on the opposite side, let's put it that way, we also want the one who are on the receiving end, so listening to the ones who are actually speaking up, to be the ones who would make an effort in really wanting to understand what the other one wants to get across. I think that's one of the most important things. So yeah, when it comes to support, it's a difficult thing. I am certain that a lot of people need support, don't dare to ask for support, want to give support, but are not always capable of doing so. And that makes it hard. And when we go back to before the internet, especially when we're talking about villages, we were relying on one another to have certain things done, to keep an eye on one another's children, to help one another, um, not only when it comes to the economy, but also with little things. I mean, especially when you look at certain countries in Asia, for instance, um, people had to walk to get water, to get buckets of water. And, there would be one place where there was actually fresh water, and all the other time they needed to catch the rainwater, the raindrops, into a bucket. So yeah, the dependency prior to internet, of course, was way bigger, and so support was way bigger. And unfortunately, that has changed. But like I said, the good thing is there are people all over the world and we can connect with one another. And that's one of the things I absolutely love. So, what else did I write down? Um, yes, this has to do with one of my clients, and it has to do with speaking up and speaking out. And she's going to festivals. So in the summer, we have a number of festivals. Some are actually here in the country, some are across the border. And what a lot of bands do, they come over um, prior to summer or during summertime, and they go and tour all those festivals. And I remember starting to work with her last year, and she probably is dealing with the same disease that I've got. Well, both of us are hypermobile, but probably both of us have this version, which is called EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And she was in a place where she was like, I don't know how to get to that festival and how to make things happen. And now here we are a year later. So I already helped her getting things done, set up the first time around, but this time she is so much better prepared and she knows what she needs to do. And, you know, that's also when we talk about support, what makes such difference. Of course, I'll honestly say I'm being paid by the local government, by the municipality to help her out, which is a good thing. And that's why I said originally, it seems that in order to get support, we have to pay for it quite often. Like I said, through membership, for instance, where you meet other people. And of course, coaching is something that you pay for too, just like I pay for being coached and for being mentored. And I don't know, I don't mind, paying occasionally for certain things, especially when it makes me better professionally. But it shouldn't always come at a price. We should also be there to support other people and be there for them when they are having a hard time. And we are so good at in walking with blinders on and not seeing what actually is going on around us. And yeah, that's the downside of IT and telephones and gaming. And I'll honestly say that, normally when I walk and I go to shopping mall, I cannot walk very quickly. So when I walk, I do it with a purpose, usually to do some grocery shopping and also to get moving. I mean, those muscles need to move, right? And when I see other people, I usually smile. That's me. And having well, playing Pokemon now, there's a phone in front of my face. And when I hear people, I do stop. That's also my own safety system, because I cannot afford to be. I'm still not very stable on my feet. It's better than it was years ago. It has improved immensely. But if someone were to pass me by and they would just, brush me or anything, that would feel really uncomfortable. So when I already hear people, I stop, I look around, and I'll let them pass. But yes, playing Pokemon, I noticed that actually looking at people and saying hi, for instance, when they're walking the dogs, is something that has drastically gone down. So yeah, that's something that I need to pay attention to. Having said so, today was quite a, I don't know if I want to say it was a very special day, but when I was downtown in another city, at some point we heard a loud bang and we were like, oh my God, what's going on? And there was this 90-year-old guy, believe it or not, a 90-year-old guy, and he was driving a scooter. We're not talking about a Scootmobile. We're talking about the scooter, which is like the slow version of a moped or a motorcycle. So you really have to be able to keep your balance in order to drive it. And well, he was stuck underneath, and I wasn't the only one who rushed over to him. So we helped him. We gave him a chair, and well, he told us that he was 90 years old. He had been doing grocery shopping, and he put his grocery bag on the tray of the scooter, and then, well, he apparently had some problems getting his leg over the shopping bag, and that's when he fell. But we all helped him out, gave him a chair, gave him a little bit of water, asked him how he was doing, if he could still move everything, and then he wanted to go. And it turned out that the handle was broken. But fortunately, there was some other guy who was familiar with everything going on. So he said, I'm going to go to the bike shop, see if they can help him out. I said, I'll stay here, I'll watch him. And well, he came back, and the one from the bicycle shop said, sure, I have some stuff. I'm going to help this guy out. And, that's a whole different level of support. And he reminded me of my dad, actually. My dad died when he was close to 88, and he had this appetite for life. It was so funny because the one who was with me, she said, why is he still on a scooter? And I said, well, he feels like he's still 20 and he doesn't want to give up his freedom, and he feels like I can do it. And I said, well, as long as he can do it. My dad used to ride his bike too, until he couldn't do it anymore. So yeah, I understand the longing for freedom and doing stuff. So it was actually a good feeling. And what struck me most is how all of us just came together, a bunch of unknown people to one another, and just helped him out. And I think he felt really good too. He was like, oh, I'm getting some attention. People are taking care of me. And of course, there's for him a downside to it. He probably has bruises. He has to spend money on fixing the scooter. But still, I could tell that the mere fact that we were there taking care of him actually really worked for him. And I have to say, it was actually kind of nice to see, hey, if it comes down to it, we do care. I know it doesn't always happen, but in this case, we did. That's the advantage of when it's still broad daylight and you actually hear something going on. So yeah, and I think that on that note, I want to close this Friday Night Live and say, if you need support, or you know other people who need support, then be sure to reach out to them. So normally around Christmas time, I have this Christmas angel, and I say to people, okay, send that Christmas angel to other people. Now, of course, it's summertime, so I don't have a Christmas angel right now. Well, I still do have it, but it's not going to work. But see what you can do, especially now that we are close to holidays. I mean, when people go on vacation, um, there are people who cannot do so, who stay at home. And there are people who do go abroad but still need some support, for instance, with their animals, their pets. So, see if you know people in your area, maybe older ones or other ones, single moms, people who have lost their spouse, who you can reach out to. And maybe it's, when you walk somewhere or you see someone, you just reach out and strike up a conversation, or just simply give them a smile. A smile is priceless. And what does it cost you? Nothing. So that's what I want to end this live with, and to be sure that you reach out to others. And well, if you need some support when it comes to speaking up and speaking out, then you know where to find me. Just leave a comment or subscribe somewhere. There are blog posts, ladylexi.com/blog. Just watch it and you'll know what to do. So for now, I'm going to say enjoy your weekend, be safe, and think about others.